Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
What's the expectation for Jacques Martin as this team is dead last in the standings and for this team?
Well, Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners out there. Thanks for having me on. What's expectations? Consistency. I mean, playoffs. I heard you guys in the segment before, and there's no chance this team is competing for a playoff position. If they go on a 6-game heater, they're still 6 back of the Florida Panthers, who are a way better team. And if anyone's watched this team, they give up way too many chances against. They haven't had a goaltender that's been any good here for 7 years. So no, playoffs are not in the realm of possibility, RP, but consistency. They want to see this team compete and be in games and not the same mistakes over and over. And full disclosure, I love DJ Smith, the guy. Was it his time to go? Yeah, it was probably time to go last year. But they gave it one more kick of the can, and new ownership comes in. And Lauer, Stayhouse, you knew that there was going to be changes if this team wasn't in a playoff position or competing for a playoff position. Probably should have been done at least a month ago. Unfortunately, now they're out of it. They have zero chance.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
You know that 50% of CFL fans are going to say Rourke should come back to Canada. Are you one of them?
You don't want to get jerked around. Don't get into pro football, because that's what life is in pro football. And if you don't have the mental toughness to go through that process, you're probably going to have a tough time in this business. Remember, there was a quarterback that played for 26 years and didn't get his opportunity until the guy in front of him got knocked out of a game.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Yes, it absolutely is. Where is my bell? Because something just jarred in my mind. Thank you, Rick Regan. He's our big voice guy, and it's his birthday today. Right, Rico? Happy birthday. Right, that guy.
I like it.
Hit another one, Clark. Yeah, that guy.
Go.
It's his birthday today.
Yes.
Gosh, I love my Facebook feed for that stuff. Yeah. Welcome to your favorite daytime sports talk show on this, what is it, Wednesday, December 20th. Yeah, we're live on Game Plus Television. It's episode number 1146. Also on the radio, WQEE. Let's bring in the Moose. He's in Toronto, Ontario, Canada for now. He's heading back to the Rectangle later on tonight. So good for you, Moose. Family time's going to be fantastic for you. I'll divulge my Christmas plans a little later on in the week. I want to tell the folks that our guests today are Andrew Hustler Paterson from Winnipeg Sports Talk and Jock Wilson from QR Calgary Radio. And before we jump into the topics, because I have a few things, obviously, this is the warm-up where we go through the quick 6 show topics. But Darren, what's up? What's popping? Just since I last saw you, what's the deal?
Things are great. As you mentioned, getting ready to head back home, I guess, for the holidays. So that'll be great. And I got to say this, like you jumped on the screen, the red sweater's popping today. I don't know if it's the lighting, what's perfect, but I know you've worn that one before, but today I came on and I'm like, man, that's a nice sweater. I got to get me one of those.
Thank you. It's my special Hockey Canada vintage purchased at the World Jays in Edmonton in the summer tournament 2 summers ago. Thank you for that. It's the lighting. It's cloudy here today. And while I dropped out of college before we got to the photography and videography section. I was gone. I dropped out by then. But I think I stole a textbook somewhere along the line from one of my coworkers, and I said a cloud cover is the best for lighting. You don't want to take photos or video on a sunny day. You want it in a cloud cover. And that's what we have today. Who needs school? Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please? Director Jordan or Tuna, whoever's behind the controls there today.
Awesome.
Awesome. Happy birthday, Rick Regan. Did I say that? I know I did. We're going to start with NHL leftovers, all right? Number one, I popped around last night. I was like Goldilocks trying to find the perfect game. I started in the Tampa-St. Louis game. It didn't quite feel right, and we'll get to why. I switched over to the Leafs and the Rangers. And then I settled in on this one, Islanders and Rangers. But Anders Lee and Bo Horvat scored power play goals, and the New York Islanders beat the Oilers last night 3-1. Simon Holmstrom scored his league-leading fifth shorty, and Ilya Sorokin stopped 30 shots. The Isles snapped the two-game skid. Leon Draisaitl scored for Edmonton, and Stuart Skinner made 17 saves in the Oilers' third straight loss. Hang on, I'm going to come around. I'm going to go through all the games. Just a quick slap shot, a one-timer from each. In Boston, Kirill Kaprizov scored his second goal of the game at 2:54 of overtime to lift Minnesota to a 4-3 win over the Bruins. In Newark, Owen Tippett stole the puck of the Devil's zone and scored at 3:25 of overtime to help Philly beat New Jersey 3-2 and extend its point streak to 9. You and I were wrong on this one. In Chicago, Tyler Johnson, former Spokane Chief, snapped a third-period tie, and rookie Connor Bedard had two helpers, helping Chicago upset Colorado 3-2. That snapped a four-game slide. In Tempe, Arizona, Michael Kesslering scored with 3:33 to go to cap a four-goal comeback, and Arizona spoiled Jacques Martin's Ottawa debut 4-3. I had this right. You had it wrong. Raleigh, Michael Bunting had a goal and two helpers, and Carolina matched its highest scoring output of the season. They beat Vegas 6-3. In Toronto, Mika Zibanejad scored twice, and Igor Shesterkin made 31 saves as the Rangers beat beat Toronto 5-2. Austin Matthews scored twice for Toronto. In Nashville, Elias Pedersen and Pius Suter each had a goal and an assist to lead Vancouver to a 5-2 win over Smashville. The LA Kings beat San Jose 4-1. Onzi Kopitar had a goal and an assist as LA beat San Jose for another big win. Big save, Dave. David Riddick made 14 saves in his Kings debut. In Tampa, we keep going. NHL points leader Nikita Kucherov had two goals. Vazzy made 28 saves, and Tampa Bay beat St. Louis 6-1. And we wind it up in Buffalo where the Blue Jackets, Kirill Marchenko scored 3 consecutive goals for his second career hattie, and Columbus beat spiraling Buffalo 9-4. So it was a very busy night. I think it was 11 games in all now that I think about it. And what stood out to you?
Busy. I was doing the same thing, and then trying to get my hands on the late game because I like to sometimes stay up, at night. And the house is all quiet and settle into one of those 10 o'clock games. I couldn't find the Sharks and Kings anywhere. So I ended up watching a Christmas show late at night, but found the games to be good. As I was flipping through, watching one and flipping through the scores, I kept looking. I'm like, man, Rod's kicking my butt on these pick'em games we did today. But it ended up being not a bad night, and a good night for Carolina. That's the one that stood out to me. They really need to go on a run. I think they're in a wild card spot right now. We thought they'd be a little bit better. So that was a big, what do you want to call it, a slump buster for them.
Well, for betting advice, you can follow me for hockey. I will advocate that. Follow Darren for Moose Jaw. Follow Moose for football. Sorry, for betting advice, and we'll have you all covered on there. But listen, I'm sorry. Did you skip past the Leafs game?
I did.
They got pumped by the Rangers last night. Yeah. So why did you say, hey, you're the Leaf guy?
Look, excuse me, with the Leafs game, it was okay. An empty net goal late. But, yeah, just didn't have it in the same way. The one bright side is Austin Matthews was going, and he continues to, push and be atop the league lead. Now 25 goals on the season, got a couple. He needs to be going every night. He's been streaky, where he'd go on a streak, couple goals a game, and then he'd go invisible for 4 or 5 games. The Stars need to be going every night. So that was the one bright spot. But, tough night against a really good hockey team.
A lot of people have been writing me saying, you seem very happy, you seem very at peace, and there's a lot of reasons for that. There are many, but one of them is I've let things go that were bothering me, and one of those is the people that don't listen. The people that write in here in the warm-up wanting their comments read, and I've said, 1,146 times. We don't read the comments in this section. It's me and Darren's time, but they don't listen. I'm like the teacher at the front of the class, but it's like, not my problem, as I've learned. And then, to the exception that proves the rule, I'm going to read a comment from the audience. John in Edmonton writes in and says, what happened with the Oilers in their last game, Rod? Do you think something's wrong with the Oilers? Of course, it's John in Edmonton. We ain't Knott's Berry Farm, okay? We're not the Klondike days. I'm not going to do this up and down of the roller coaster that you all are on. I facetiously say this to Serena because I don't want to get knocked out. But when they were rolling, there was games here in this winning streak where she's like, oh, they can't skate with the Oilers. Oh, NHL Network's going to lead with the Oilers because it's the Oilers. And she was right about all those things. But I'm like, yeah, for now. Now they've lost 3 in a row. What's wrong with the Oilers? But it's going to lead to a point that I've got coming up in our quick six. And by the way, there'll be a lot of hockey today because, and we do have some very good football items today, but tomorrow is going to basically be wall-to-wall football. I'm going to just put that out there now. Not warn you. I'm going to put that out there because it's going to be a great show. It's our annual Boca Raton Bowl preview. We've got NCAA and CFL alum Andrew Nowacki and Matt Dubach coming down to join us from the Beach House to preview our bowl game here in Boca that we all get very excited about. So that's tomorrow. So, point being, in hour 1, say it with me, we talk about last night's games. In hour 2, we talk about tonight's games. So, yes, I see you people. I see you. You're not old enough to remember Romper Room, but that was the I see you, John in Winnipeg. I see you. Talking about Detroit at Winnipeg tonight. Hold your horses. We'll be talking about it next hour. And what's wrong with the Edmonton Oilers? I don't know. For 5 weeks, there was nothing wrong with the Oilers. They were kicking everybody's ass. And you guys were planning the parade. Now they've lost 3 in a row. I don't have it in me. And by the way, it's not my job. I have the pulse of certain teams. The Oilers aren't one. The Leafs aren't one. Darren doesn't either. I mean, we said it yesterday. When you don't know what team's going to show up on a night-to-night basis, you're not going anywhere. You want to put that in a meme, Darren? Do you want to write it down? When you don't know what team's going to show up on a nightly basis, they're not a contender. I'm looking at you, Toronto. And by the way, that teacher on Romper Room never, ever said Rodney. It was at the end of Romper Room show. She had this mirror. And she would look like it was you could see right through it. I'm looking at you, Darren. It was always Darren. I'm looking at you, Bill. I'm looking at you, Dennis. Never said I'm looking at you, Rodney. We were robbed. Anyways, to football. It's fun topic here. It's official. The New England Patriots have officially claimed Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke off waivers from the Jacksonville Jaguars. The team announced it on Tuesday. The Jags placed Rourke on waivers Saturday. He began the season on Jacksonville's practice roster, had 2 stints on the team's active roster. By signing Rourke off waivers, the Patriots must place him on their 53-man active roster. He's in his first NFL season after a standout 2022 CFL campaign with the BC Lions where he was named Canadian of the Year. How was he not named Rookie of the Year? You'd kind of think that he should be, but whatever. It's a fun debate, and that's what we do here on The View for sports fans. National Canadian television. My U.S. football friends, like, stick with me. It's not that they're any better and we're worse in Canada or Canada's better and they're worse. It's not. It's just different. They're like, how the hell do you guys spend so much time talking about a third-string backup that's never played it down? When you've got Chuba Hubbard doing great things in Carolina, and you've got Jevon Holland, stud with the Dolphins, got his own radio show in here in Miami. Chase Brown up there in Ohio. You rattled off a bunch more today in our morning meeting when we were talking about what is it about Rourke that's got everybody all horny, yet they don't even know about these other guys, or if they do, they don't want to talk about them. It's a good question. I didn't know the answer, other than I said to those guys, it's just the way we are.
It is. And, you know, I didn't really have an answer early, and I brought up those other names, really good players. And there's a whole nother crop of players that are going to get drafted and are going to come to the National Football League that are doing great things in NCAA football. But I think the big part of it is why we're so fascinated because of the position. We all get, you know, drool for the quarterback all the time, gaga for the quarterback. And when a Canadian is looking to play the pinnacle position in the entire game in the league and has played well at that level, I think we get excited to see that we can play on the same stage at the peak position as as Americans. And so we're just waiting to see him get his chance. And I think that's probably why, more than anything.
Well, and yet even still, he's not the first Canadian quarterback to go south. Jesse Palmer as a guy that you would be familiar with, and The Bachelor, and he's still on ESPN college football coverage. Nobody gave a rat's ass about Jesse Palmer. He actually came to the CFL in my time in the league, and nobody cared. He's from Nepean, Ontario, or he's born there. And his dad, I think, played with the Ottawa Rough Riders. I can't remember the story now. There's just something about Nathan Rourke, and the U.S. guys were just kind of chuckling about it because there's a ton of guys. And the other thing is Rourke did play 1 year in the CFL, so all of Canada had time, just enough time to fall in love with him, and then he's gone. But all those other guys didn't play in the CFL, which is a whole other thing. If you want to know about the Canadians that are starring in the NFL, go to 3downnation.com. Just an insider's tip here. You'll never read a story like that on CFL.ca, and you can't blame CFL.ca for that. See, these league websites and the team websites have become nothing but propaganda vehicles for the leagues and the team, and that's fine because I've overseen that. That was my era when it changed from actual information that was good to a commercial. And that's nothing wrong with them. I mean, we only put on social media what we want you to see. We're not sitting there talking about the things we don't want you to know, right? So, but again, the CFL is never going to tell you about the Canadians in the NFL because why the hell would they? So 3downnation.com does, and they're your best source for that. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says there's no comparing Palmer to Rourke. Jeff, the Stamps fan, has shown up to be the fish swimming upstream to our discussion. By the way, we're going to take a time out here, and the points that I have coming up include more on the football discussion. But for those that just checked in, Thursday is going to be a really big football day here as we go live from the Boca Bowl for a second consecutive year. Syracuse versus USF, University of South Florida. Matt DeBuck's kid. You heard me talk a ton about DeBuck. He played with the Argos and with Flutie. He was Jeremy O'Day's roommate with the Argos in 1997. DeBuck's kid plays on the University of South Florida. So he'll have all the info on that bowl game that I'm sure you'll be able to watch on U.S. television. That's all tomorrow. And Andrew Nowacki's going to be with us, too. I want to know which Canadian NHL teams our audience thinks will make the Stanley Cup playoffs. Because I think you got to realize with the Oilers, everybody gets so excited about the 8-game winning streak. They're still out of a playoff spot. They're still behind the Flames, who you laugh at in Edmonton. You know? So who do we realistically think is going to be in? I feel like they think it's just a foregone conclusion that Edmonton's going to wake up and be in the playoffs. Sister. Canada spanked Denmark last night, 8-0 in World Juniors pre-competition play. We'll talk about that. Our NHL top 5, bottom 5 we'll get to tonight's NHL games and a whole lot more. So stick around. And our poll question, which we haven't got to yet, relates to the National Hockey League. So we'll be right back. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Happy holidays, hockey fans. Welcome to the SJHL Report. I'm Darren DuPont. Final one of 2023. Let's look at the games from the final weekend. It was a big weekend for Weyburn. Friday night, an upset win over Humboldt. They followed it up with a win over Yorkton on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Battlefords won both weekend games against their rivals, the Kindersley Clippers. So, Weyburn moving really close, now just 2 points back of Kindersley as we look at the standings heading in to the holiday break. As we sit here over the holidays, Flin Flon still way out in front, first place overall. We'll look at our leading scorers too, and Kean Bell, the Battlefords, in just 19 games, now tied with Justin Lees for top spot. But look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the top 7 skaters in the points, all from the Flin Flon Bombers. It's going to do it for this week's SJHL Report. Happy holidays. I'm Darren DuPont.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Here, Clark has informed me, and rightfully so. Comment away, let it snow, let you comment on the YouTube stream. Let her rip. Don't necessarily expect me to read them, but comment away. Moose, come on in. Before I move along, I do want to include some audience participation here. Jim in Balgony, Sask writes in about last night's NHL games. He goes, wow, Connor Bedard is something else. As Dub fans, we know that. That's WHL slang, Dub. He says, can you imagine if he was on a decent team? I watch him knowing that amazing things will happen. Not disappointed on his 2 assists last night. Did you see the assist? Did you see? Listen, NHL Network replayed it 7 times. I can't imagine what TSN did with it. For those that don't know, he was coming down on a 2-on-1, and he was the more forward guy. He turned and passed it backwards, right on the tape of Reichel, who sniped. How did he even see him? That's Gretzky stuff, that you have eyes in the back of your head. That's what we used to say about Wayne. This is why people are so excited. Again, he was looking at the net and then passed it behind him at about a 7 o'clock pass, right on the tape of Reichel. What the hell is he doing?
It's unbelievable to watch. It really is. I mean, we call that a hockey sense, hockey IQ, but that's not really what it is. It's something different. You're right. Wayne had it. We've seen Crosby a little bit with it at that level, but Bedard just has something we haven't seen. It's just so much fun to watch. A zing, zing, and I mean, Yeah, you can't explain it. You can't teach it. You can't replicate it. It just happens.
I'll never forget the legendary columnist of the Toronto Sun, Steve Simmons, who I've recently connected again with. I mean, he is one of those old school writers that doesn't give a rat's ass what you think. He's just going to write it. He's the guy that broke the news that Austin Matthews had COVID. I don't need to tell you. It's for the people that are that are out there that don't know. And anyway, he's got a place here. So Steve wrote me not that long ago and said, where are you at in Boca? I told him, and he's got a house. It's a ways away, but it's here. So we're going to hook up next time he's down here. But he wrote years ago in the Toronto Sun, I just remember all these things. He goes, if you aren't selling wins, you'd better be selling hope. And I look at those Chicago Blackhawks, and I'm like, I want to watch every game. And they're the worst team in the league. And I understand we do have a personal connection to Connor Bedard. We've been interviewing him since he was 14, which is another thing. For our World Juniors preview show, we had the voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors on the air, James Gallo. Did you hear what he said about Bedard? He goes, Rod, the way he talks, if I had 50 cents for every time you said Connor Bedard, I'd be retired by now. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I know. I can smell the sizzle. I can smell it like a fart in the car. You know that, Darren? Nathan Rourke has it. Connor Bedard has it. Some guys have it. So we're going to talk about it. It doesn't matter whether if you know him or you don't. You got to tune in for the Blackhawks games. Now, you know him as well as I do, but I got to think everybody wants to watch Chicago games, and that's the Simmons point. They're not selling wins, but they're selling hope and they're selling excitement.
They are. They are. And that's why TV ratings when the Blackhawks play are up. Merchandise sales for the Blackhawks are up. Social media numbers for the Blackhawks are up. Yeah. And you don't think it's a coincidence, right? It's a reason to tune in. It's a reason to go to the games. And you're right. Fans in Chicago are excited to go there. And it doesn't matter if the team wins or loses, because that's not what they're there for right now. They know it's coming. You say selling hope, but they're selling the sizzle and the excitement of Connor Bedard. And they know the future is bright. You can be excited watching a team lose hockey games because you're like, oh, wait till we get a couple more pieces. Like, we've got the building blocks here, and it's going to be fun in Chicago.
Well, and that's the thing that I never really understood. I've never thought about it, but Serena said it. I've heard others say it. Guys are going to want to sign in Chicago because of Bedard. He's making Reichel look like Mark Messier. So I get it. Guys are going to want to play with him because they're going to make themselves look better and all the rest of it. It's because Connor's not thinking that way. It's like for years and years and years, I hear it with people on this show and my old job. I came here because I wanted to work with you. And I thought, why the hell would you want to do that? Whatever. Welcome aboard. And I'm sure that's the way Connor Bedard looks at things, too. It's going to be fantastic. By the way, just to back up the truck for a little bit, funny how Bedard and Rourke are the two in the news guys this week, certainly on this show and in Canada. Nathan Rourke, the third-string quarterback of the New England Patriots. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in, Sports Bar. She says, Mac Jones is on the bench and Bailey Zappi hasn't been great either. I would throw Rourke in there for the last, 3 games? He's not going to start this week. No. Kevin the Medium says, I agree, Jen. It'll be awesome to see Rourke do his thing. All the BC Lions are on the train, fans, because that's where he played in Canada. Alan in Saskatoon, Al Hordell says, I sure hope Belichick gives him a chance to play. Let's think about that for 1 second. And I'm loving the all-over-the-place nature of this show. It's not quite like PTI, where they go ding, 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 ding. We go on zagging all over the place. Bill's not, I don't think, worried right now about the quarterback rotation. And I get what you're saying. It's kind of a facetious comment from Al. He's leaving that up to Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator, I would think, because Bill's coaching for his life. They're already eliminated from the playoffs. They're done. And it's interesting that the report came out a week ago yesterday that Belichick's coaching his last season. The decision's been made by Robert Kraft. You know more about it than I do. How much time do you think Bill Belichick's putting on how much he's going to play Nathan Rourke, do you think?
I don't think a lot, but, the fact that you make the move on waivers to pick up Nathan Rourke tells me you're not just mailing it in. So potentially there's a role for Bill in the Patriots organization moving forward. Or maybe not, or maybe he's not pulling the strings anymore. But they're clearly looking at long-term of this organization and trying to add pieces and still continue to improve. For the fans that want to know about Nathan Rourke playing, not going to happen this week. Probably not going to happen next week. Maybe in the final game of the season because he needs to learn a playbook. He needs to learn a scheme. You want to put him in a position to have success. Maybe he comes in, next week. That would be an outside look for me, but he's got to get up to speed before they'd be comfortable putting him in the game.
Moving on. I'll read a quick one here. I mentioned earlier what Canadian teams are going to make the Stanley Cup playoffs, and people have rallied to the cause. I want to read your answers on that. Point 4, place line Malmo, Sweden. Fraser Minton of the Saskatoon Blades had 2 goals and an assist as Canada defeated Denmark's under-25 team. That had to be under-20 team. I hope that's it. They're letting 25-year-old Denmark players in there? Beat him 8-0 last night in a tune-up ahead of the World Jays. 17-year-old Macklin Celebrini added a goal and 2 assists for Canada, while Denton Matejchuk scored twice. So I'm just reading that. Canada routed Denmark 8-0 last night. We got our top 5, bottom 5 that we'll get to later. With regards to who will make the Stanley Cup playoffs amongst Canadian teams, Brian in Hudson Bay writes, it's way, way up there. He says, good morning. He writes on the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. Good morning and Merry Christmas, guys. I think the Leafs, Jets, Canucks, and either Flames or Oilers make the playoffs. Just not sure which one of those two. And Brian is not just a pretty face. I'm kind of with him on that. And so that brings us to today's poll question. It's regarding the Calgary Flames. Can you imagine? Our poll questions brought to you daily by Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. Flames, as we sit here today, out of the playoffs, they got 31 points. The Oilers are 4 back of them. So let's just forget about the Battle of Alberta for a second. They're both out of the playoffs. What do you think the Calgary Flames should do? It's a bit of a trick question. I'll be honest. It was Clark's question, producer Clark. What should the Flames do before the trade deadline? Brought to you by Key Auto Group. Should they be buyers, pick up pieces and make a run? Should they be sellers, get off the assets? That's what everybody's talking about in Calgary that I see. Or do nothing, stand pat. And so far, 81% of respondents are saying they should be sellers, 10% say they should do nothing, and 9% say they should be buyers. And I'll be honest, can I add a fourth? That's why I say this is a trick question. Can I add a fourth option? How about playing your best? Has anybody thought of that?
How about that?
Huberdeau is pointless in 9. Kadri, I don't know where he is. I watch the games. I don't see him in the highlights. I don't see him in the stat sheet. How about playing to your optimum potential? And then let's talk. Fortunately, they're 3 months away from the trade deadline or whatever it is, but I think it's really sad. I see the media and the pundits are pushing the rebuild, and certainly the fans. I don't know what the team's thinking, but how about we just play to optimum 10 out of 10 for a while? Anybody thought of that? What do you think, Darren? Am I out to lunch?
Well, they're not selling wins. And they're not selling a lot of hope either. So you got to find a way to do one or the other. Playing to their optimum potential would then help them celebrate some wins. I would think if this team plays well, they're going to win some hockey games. They've got enough talent. But how long do you keep beating your head against that wall, hoping they'll play to their potential before you just say, hey, it's just not going to happen? The potential that we thought was there isn't actually there. We're not capable of reaching that. At some point, they have to pull the trigger and say, okay, the wins aren't coming. We got to start selling hope. And what are we going to do to start selling some hope? And that's probably make some moves.
Okay. I appreciate the analysis. I just think I watched the games and here's the thing. Why, Darren Coach played. Did you ref football?
Not football. Hockey I ref, but not football.
Okay. Well, so you know both sports very well, but I just know hockey like my DNA because I was raised in it. I can see who's working hard and who's not working hard. I think most Canadians can, to be honest, that have played. I can't as well with football. I can't. That's just not my thing per se. But with the Flames, I can see that some guys are working hard, some guys aren't working hard. And that's kind of my point. Can we get everybody working hard? And then let's see. It's a little like Philadelphia with what Torts is doing with the Flyers. He's now got everybody working hard, and look at the reaction that they're getting. Look at the results that they're getting. By the way, John Ohm, he's going to love our next interview coming up after this break. But John Ohm says, this show is like a roller coaster. Get on for the twist and turn ride. RP show rocks. Bill in Regina, the gentleman that sent me this Don Cherry and Ron McLean bobblehead, says the Leafs, the Jets, and Vancouver will be in the playoffs. Not a bad prediction. And I feel like writing it down. On December 20th, Bill Edwards said this. But that's the question today. Moose will be kicking it around when we come back in hour 2. Our NHL top 5, bottom 5 we'll get to then tonight's NHL games. But when we come back, we'll preview the Jets and the Wings tonight at Canada Life Center. Thanks, Moose. Take a break. Smoke him if you got him.
Au revoir. I will.
We'll be right back. That's goodbye in French. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP show continues on a Wednesday, and of the 3 games in the NHL tonight, the featured game, I don't think there's any doubt, is in Winnipeg, where the Jets are home to the Detroit Red Wings, and joining us to talk about it is Hustler from Winnipeg Sports Talk. Huss, great to chat with you, my friend, amigo. How revved is the town for this one tonight, the Slurpee capital, Jets and Wings?
What's up, Roddy? Happy holidays to you and all of your viewers and listeners. Listen, the momentum took a bit of a hit with the overtime loss to the Montreal Canadiens on Monday. But I think overall, if you talk to the average Winnipeg Jet fan right now on the streets or at your local watering hole or at the rink, people are really excited about what this team has accomplished through 30 games. And 18-9-3, it's their second best start through 30 games ever. Last year, of course, they were 29-1 at this point. Things sort of fell off the rails, but this is just such a different team. The way they've been winning games has been so much different that I think there's a real confidence that the Winnipeg Jets will keep pushing forward, keep battling with the likes of Dallas and Colorado in that top 3 in the Central Division. And we'll get ready for some whiteouts and some street parties coming up in the fall. As far as this game tonight, it's an interesting one. I think you're going to see a desperate Wings team coming in. They've only won once in their last 7 games. They've lost 3 games in a row. And meanwhile, the Jets have established sort of a level of expectation and consistency, especially at 5-on-5, that will give the fans a hope that they'll be walking out with 2 points tonight. So should be a good one. Obviously, the Wings have shaken up in goal right now. They had to sign Hutch yesterday, former Jet Michael Hutchinson. We expect James Reimer to be the guy tonight for Detroit, playing in his home province. And we'll get to see Pat Kane for the first time, and what should be weird seeing him in the red and white of the winged wheel as opposed to his entire career in Chicago and, of course, that stint last year with the New York Rangers.
A wonderful preview right there. And my guy Jeff in Esteban wrote in earlier, and he said, how many wins did the Wings have since Kane showed up? And I'm like, not a lot. You said it. They're riding a 3-game losing streak, and they've slipped out of a playoff spot. So all it does is set up a really good hockey game tonight. I'll take any questions from the crowd for Hustler. John Ohm in Winnipeg wants to know what you think's wrong with the Jets' power play. Can you get that working, Huss?
Well, it's funny, Rod, and that's, again, goes back to where the team is, how they've won their games, and why I think there's a real confidence that things can, if anything, get better. The power play just hasn't been good enough this year, and they've gone through a couple extended droughts with the man advantage, and this is one of those right now. Now, they did make a change this morning in the morning skate, and this one might surprise some people, in that Cole Perfetti is so talented, and he's showed so much of what he brings to the table this year. He's actually moving off the first power play, and they're moving in Alex Iafallo. I really think that this is based around one thing, and that is making life more difficult for opposition goaltenders when the Jets have the power play. When the Jets broke a slump earlier this season against the Vegas Golden Knights, it was Alex Iafallo right in front of the net that ended up being the catalyst to the Jets getting a dirty one and then moving forward. that is absolutely one of Rick Bonus's biggest concerns right now with his team. I mean, he said after the game against Montreal, he said, you know what, our structure is great. At 5-on-5, we continue to play right up there with the best teams in the league, but special teams has hurt the club. So to John's question, there will be a switch tonight. Perfetti and Iafallo switching units. I expect that James Reimer is going to see a lot of number 9 in front of him tonight when the Jets have power play opportunities. And from a Winnipeg standpoint, hopefully they can get one, because in this situation earlier, when they got one, they went on a little bit of a run, and they could really use that right now. It's been the one thing that's really been missing from the Jets attack.
Randy in Winnipeg writes it, and he says, the PK needs to be better, too. You got to love the 1 million coaches you got over there in Manitoba and the millions in the Jets nation. Yeah. But please tell me, Hust, you're not one of the guys saying, this we need to get. What do they need to get before the trade deadline? What do we need? What do we need? Because I think you've gone through enough change. You got your big guns signed. Why introduce any drama or disrupt the chemistry right now? That's what I think. Are you championing that they need to do something? Tweaks?
No, listen, I think, I mean, even if I was, what's the point? We've seen Kevin Cheveldayoff be amongst the most patient general managers in the National Hockey League for a number of years. And to be honest, even Chevy's biggest critics have to be giving him a whole lot of credit for what this team looks like right now. I mean, the game on Saturday, Rod, against the Avalanche, a battle for first place. The first 5 goal scorers in that game were Nino Niederreiter, Alex Iafallo, Vlad Nemetsnikov, and Gabriel Velarde with 2. All players that Cheveldayoff had acquired either at the deadline or in the offseason, and for the deadline acquisitions, re-signed both of them. He legitimately is a candidate for the general manager of the year right now if the team continues to play at that level that they've been. Now, look, come around the deadline, will the Jets be interested in bolstering their lineup? Absolutely. I think that goes without saying. Most contending teams do. But there is no urgency whatsoever. And if anything, the guys that are playing right now for the Jets deserve to stay in the lineup. I think big picture, would they love to add a top 4 defenseman on the right side to bolster that blue line? Yes. But the level of desperation for Winnipeg that I think a lot of people thought at the beginning of the season to add that player is not there right now, with a huge bounce back season for Neil Pionk. Nate Schmidt and Dylan Sandberg have been defensively right at the top of the list for NHL pairings this year when it comes to goals against in that third pairing, and they haven't had any injuries. So it's been tough to get Logan Stanley and Declan Chisholm into the lineup. Oh, and don't forget, Ville Heinola is skating again, and he'll be back at some point in the new year. So there's no level of urgency to make any of those trades, and that's a good position for Cheveldayoff to be in. But if you'd ask me if they will make some moves before they blow the whistle on trade deadline day, for sure there'll be some tweaking to the roster. But I think if anything, they would look, I mean, there are 2 areas that I think big picture they'd look at: a right shot defenseman for preferably into the top 4, and potentially another player that could come in, play center, 2C, 3C. But as I said, things are going well for the Winnipeg Jets right now. So that is not something we're banging the drum on Winnipeg Sports Talk every day. I can tell you that.
Good to hear. I cannot let you go without a Chiefs Kingdom comment. We got about a minute left. Are you thinking Patrick Mahomes is a crybaby? What was your take on the call on Kadarius Toney and the loss to the Bills 2 weeks ago?
No, listen, I don't think that. And there's a lot of haters out there that begrudge success and greatness, and they're looking to take a shot at the man. I don't blame him for being as pissed off as he was, Rod. That is a call that had been called 5 times in 3 seasons, and it had been happening all game. So, you know, without a warning, without it being called earlier, to decide to do that at that point justifiably ticked him off and Andy Reid. It has been quite funny, though, to see in the aftermath of that how much it has been called in last week in the NFL. Listen, I'm not a guy that sits here and beats up on the refs. They've got the toughest job in sports. The NFL should go to full-time officials, though I will say that. But it was, listen, Mahomes was choked for a number of reasons. He couldn't believe they'd never had that called against them in his entire career. Andy Reid as well. So I understood it. And I understood why a lot of people that wanted to take shots at them took advantage of it for the way that he reacted to it. He apologized the next day. What didn't look good was how mad he was talking to Josh Allen as if Allen had anything to do with it. But what I think he's really mad about is the fact that Kadarius Toney can't catch, and a number of their other receivers have been letting them as much as they have all season long. But don't write out the Chiefs right now. I mean, I agree. It's the Niners and then everybody else. But if Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes come playoff time, there's still going to be a really, really tough out. They got the Raiders on Christmas Day to wrap up a 7th straight AFC West championship. And you will be hearing some noise from number 15 and the guys in red come playoff time. Mark my words on that.
Sounds good, sir. Merry Christmas. Keep killing it. Slay the day, Hustler. Thanks for the time today.
Have a great one, Rod. Thanks for having me.
Hustler Paterson from Winnipeg Sports Talk. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover after this on Game Plus Television, which, of course, airs in Manitoba on Bell MTS Cable Channel 1190, Shaw Rogers Channel 230. We're also on the radio, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to get to a sports update here. A quickie from the Sober Carpenter text line. Trevor in Red Deer, watching on Game Plus, has written in the 902 Sober Carpenter text line. He says, the Edmonton Oilers, with a laughing, crying emoji. He said, Chris Knobloch has done what every Oilers coach before him has done. 2 to 3 guys will not win you games. Shake my head. Playing your best guys. And they ain't scoring. They lost to a good team last night. They had a great start. But you need a good start, a good middle, and a good finish in the National Hockey League consistently. And that didn't happen for the Edmonton Oilers last night, who, has it set in yet that they might miss the playoffs? Can I hear from the Oilers fans today that, what will you do if this team misses the playoffs? You fired your coach on November the 12th. That was supposed to fix everything. What if it doesn't? Sports update on this Wednesday. Redshirt freshman Owen McCown recovered from a shaky beginning to his first start of the year. His first start came in the Frisco Bowl last night. He threw for 251 yards and 2 touchdowns as UTSA, that's the University of Texas San Antonio, rallied from a 14-0 deficit to beat the Marshall Thundering Herd 35-17 in the Frisco Bowl in Texas Tuesday night. McCown, a transfer who started 3 games for Colorado last year, stepped in after senior Frank Harris was declared out about an hour before kickoff last night because of a shoulder injury. The CFL's top draft picks will head west next spring for the CFL Combine. Winnipeg will host the 2024 showcase from March 19th to the 24th before the annual event heads to the Queen City of Regina in 2025. Sports update brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. Turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now, Silent Night. It redefines the action genre with visceral, thrill-a-minute storytelling. In Landmark Cinemas now, Silent Night. I'll tell you a little story. Whenever I hear about Marshall playing in the college Marshall Thundering Herd, we had a guy, you may have heard of him, Rhett Dawson. He was a Saskatchewan Roughriders Hall of Famer. His brother, Red Dawson, came up to Regina. I emceed the induction for the Plaza that year, whatever year it was. And Red pulled me aside, and he's like, hey, you ever get down to wherever they are? He's like, look me up. And he goes, and by the way, there's a movie coming out about my life. I said, what's that? He goes, well, it's a major motion picture about Marshall. Just watch it when it comes out. And I'm Red Dawson, and Matthew Fox is playing me. I'm like, oh, I didn't know the story. Movie ended up being We Are Marshall. And I never had a chance to talk to Red Dawson after that. I'm not sure he's even still alive. I could look it up, the story about the plane crash and the entire football team being killed, but Red wasn't on the plane. Yeah, Marshall. We Are Marshall. He was the coach. Played by Matthew Fox. How about that? Moose rejoins in hour 2, and we got Jock Wilson coming up, too, after this brief pause. Stick around.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You know that 50% of CFL fans are going to say Rourke should come back to Canada. Are you one of them?
You don't want to get jerked around. Don't get into pro football, because that's what life is in pro football. And if you don't have the mental toughness to go through that process, you're probably going to have a tough time in this business. Remember, there was a quarterback that played for 26 years and didn't get his opportunity until the guy in front of him got knocked out of a game.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Hi, everybody. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the RP Show, Hour 2. We're in the Christmas spirit. We're going to have a lot of fun here. As you can see, we take ourselves very seriously on Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show. Let's bring in the Moose now. You see, Moose, you didn't know that I've got the props.
Done.
We got the props.
Well done.
What do you think?
Yeah. What's on the front of that thing? Got the Florida Panthers. What's on the white
Funny
little...
you say that. It was a deal. Listen, in some sporting markets, they give the fans gifts. I know. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. They treat the fans great in some sporting markets. And here, this was a game a couple of years ago, and I've been saving it. The Panthers handed out these Santa toques at a game. But, of course, it's always sponsored by somebody. This is sponsored by the law offices of Anajar, the law offices of Anajar and Levine. Accident attorneys.
Heard an
I
accident?
believe the commercial.
Call 999.
No, more than that, more than that. If your grandma got run over by a reindeer, you might be entitled to compensation. Call 1-800-747-FREE. The law offices of Anajar and Levine. So, yeah, thought I would open it up with a little bit of fun. My guy Chris in the Bronx is watching today. He says we're killing him today. We're killing him. He's cranking up. We're not even talking about the sports that he wants.
How about that?
You could wear the toque. It looks good. It looks good.
Listen, you know where I thought this would be fun? And we already put our best of the year episodes in the can. They're already recorded. But I thought I could wear the Florida Panthers Santa Claus toque, and we could do a naughty and nice list.
That would be good.
How about that?
I'd get out my reading glasses here that I bought at
Unroll
Publix.
the scroll. Yeah, away we go.
That's hot.
All right, what do we got here? Who's on the naughty list? Clearly, Draymond Green is on the naughty list.
Oh,
what about
no.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? What list are they going on? I guess we'll have to do it next year because we already got it in the can. We had a ton of fun with that. That's airing next week. I just want to tee this up for our audience. Next week, best of 2023, our best interviews, and they include Ricky Williams, Ted Nolan, Ryan Huska, the head coach of the Flames, Cody Fajardo, Trevor Harris, big CFL names. There's a lot. And then there's our countdowns, which I'm very proud of, our top stories of the year of the National Football League, the National Hockey League, the CFL, and all other leagues that we cover. That's all coming up next week. And our World Juniors special. And tomorrow is our annual Boca Raton Bowl special, live from the Beach House. Darren's been there. We got our football buddies coming down, NCAA and CFL alum Andrew Nowacki and Matt Dubak, live at the Beach House to preview the big Boca Bowl. It's our little slice of the bowl football world here at FAU Stadium, the 35,000-seat brand-new stadium that nobody even outside South Florida knows is here. It's what we do. And here we are. We have coming up this hour, our Deal or No Deal. No, not Deal or No Deal. Our Bet Regal NHL Top 5, Bottom 5. I might put the Santa toque back on for this week's Top 5, Bottom 5, Darren, of the NHL, and then I'll wear the King's robe as well. And we'll have a lot of fun with that. I felt like you had a lot of fun with our NHL Pick'em last night, or yesterday that we did on the show. Which are we gonna anoint that to Bet Regal, our daily NHL Pick'em? Which don't take Darren's picks from yesterday. You'll go broke.
I know. I didn't actually go through and do the final tally of how many right and wrong. I got saved a little bit as the night moved along. Got some key wins there from Vancouver and LA. But yeah, it could be fun. It could be something we do here from time to time.
Just recapping for those people like when we reset, because we're an hour into this show. Hustler Paterson was with us last hour from Winnipeg Sports Talk. He is by far the biggest Kansas City Chiefs fan that I know. And he defended Patrick Mahomes. Nobody should be surprised that he defended Patrick Mahomes. The guy was fined $50,000, so clearly Hustler's not in the right. Right? Randy from Winnipeg writes in and says, good interview, but I disagree on his Mahomes take. That's fine. Jen from the Four Seasons says, I don't feel bad for Mahomes at all. He seems to always get the calls his way. Throwing a temper tantrum is just embarrassing. Yeah, well, that's sports now. And if you've noticed, we're raising a generation of little narcissists. Get used to temper tantrums from adults. Consider yourself warned. At least he's got the money to pay the $50,000 fine, Moose. I'm not sure. I feel like we kind of put this to bed. We didn't, but we summed it up real well last hour, our poll question today, which we do every day for Key Auto Group. Key Auto Group, driven by safety, experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. What should the Calgary Flames do ahead of the NHL trade deadline? Should they be buyers, acquire? Should they sell off their assets or do nothing? And my fourth point, which is just my own, is how about playing at optimum potential? Let's try that and see if that works. But no, that's not even an option, and apparently it's not going to happen. 81% of respondents saying sell, sell, sell. Gentleman wrote in here last hour, Flames fan, to the degree that the Flames logo is his avatar, Jordan on YouTube. He says it's crucial for the Flames to acquire draft picks for the next draft. Sure. But then you need to draft well. And overall they have. Dustin Wolf in goal is the next one. It feels like the Flames don't know who or what they are. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's all chanting to get Dustin Wolf in net, but when Jacob Markstrom comes back from the finger injury, he's solely responsible for the win over the Florida Panthers the other night with 33 saves. Jacob Markstrom, like, why are you in such a rush to rush him out of town? They don't know what they are, is my point on that. So I guess they torched Matthew Phillips, homegrown kid. He's gone to Washington. And then you got Huberdeau for 9 more years after this at $10 million a year. What did you vote for? I didn't vote for any of them because I'm as confused as the Flames and their fans. I don't know what the hell they need. What did you vote for?
I didn't either. But, I probably think at some point, you got to sell. I would probably be on the sell train. I look at it. You got Markstrom, who's kind of in his prime right now. He's probably going to ride out whatever way you go, but he's also, big time trade bait for you if you want to go down that road. And I look at any, team that's been successful for a long period of time, it feels like it's anchored around good goaltending. And I go back to the Flames last time they were, really good consistently and, made the Stanley Cup. Was it not Mika Kiprasov that was their goaltender? And now he's, a Flames legend. So if Dustin Wolf's going to be that, you got to remember his window is going to open up in like a year or two, right? Like he's just getting into. So you need some time here. And if he's going to be the window that you plan around, then you need to start acquiring assets that will be ready when he's ready. I don't know if draft picks next year will necessarily be it or not. We'll have to see.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writing in, he says, the fact is, until the Flames have a paradigm shift in culture, it probably won't matter what they do. Terry, the lawyer, writes in and says, Merry Christmas, Rod and Darren. Your show is a gift to we viewers every day. Thank you, Terry. We're like an STD, the gift that keeps on giving.
How about that?
Year-round, daily. From the Puck and Pigskin podcast in Red Deer.
Can I stop?
You're right, Rod.
I left that out of the frenzy, the frenzy video. There was one viewer wrote in. One viewer wrote in. I don't know if you remember this. You were reading the text, and it was, Frenzy, you put the STD in stud, and we all broke out laughing. I didn't put that one in, but I could have.
You can. Hey, I guess I can let the cat out of the bag now. I'm going through immigration to be a permanent U.S. resident. Doesn't affect this show at all. The show will go on for years. The Rod Peterson Show. Don't worry, nothing's going to change. And I'm going to come to Canada for lots of time and lots of events. But right now I'm going through immigration. So I had to get this very fancy medical. A lot of shots, a lot of blood work. And then it shows up at your door in a sealed envelope that goes to the U.S. Customs officials, and then we got a copy for ourselves. So I'm sitting there, Darren, you'll love this. The other night I was bored. I'd had the results for like a week, but I didn't, because I was pretty confident I was okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I got flipping through these things, and I am like, oh, congratulations, Serena. I don't have syphilis. Just so you know.
That? Approved.
nor gonorrhea, nor tuberculosis, or any of the myriad of things that they tested before. But I had to get 4 shots. What do you got? What are you going to say?
No. Like, what happens?
Or you're just listening.
What happens if one of those is positive? It's like he's already in the country, so whatever he brought in, it's already in the U.S. Like, yeah.
That's what I thought. Anyways, we're good, and before long, I'm
111.
I will say this: it's 111. Wow.
As we talk about gonorrhea and tuberculosis.
That wasn't quite what I was thinking. But when I sat across the 902-518-3033 is the Sober Carpenter text line. Ask for Sober Carpenter by name at your local beer, wine, or spirit store. And again, that's what sets our show apart for the marketing people in South Florida that wanted to know, how is your show different than the millions of others that are out there? It's conversations like this. But when I sat across the desk from the immigration lawyer, he says, Rod, you don't ever have to leave the USA again if you don't want to. It was a very warm feeling because I love it here so much, obviously. But I'm like, that doesn't mean I'm trapped, right? I can leave. He's like, no, you can, but you don't have to. That's the difference. That's from the immigration lawyer. That was a nice feeling after what I've gone through the last couple of years. Oh, believe me, Alan in Saskatoon writes, and he says, you should have just gone to Mexico and come in that way, LOL. He says, congratulations, Rod. Don't think I hadn't thought about it, Alan. And by the way, why would I go to Mexico? You and I both know, because I've done it a million times. I went down Gladmar, Saskatchewan. Not to tell any tales here or give anybody any ideas. You couldn't just pull the barbed wire fence apart and climb through it. Why would I go down to Mexico-U.S. border and risk my life with the 30,000 people a day that are coming in? Because Biden doesn't mind. I can just go through a barbed wire fence, Montana, Sask, and nobody would know. But I don't really want to spend the I don't want to spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder every time there's a knock on the door worried it's about immigration. I want to do it right. From the Puck and Pigskin Contest podcast and Red Deer, is Serena becoming a permanent resident as well? How were her results? LOL. Number one, that's personal question in two phases. And number two, she already is a U.S. citizen. She didn't have to worry about it. And Al from Saskatoon says, by the way, Merry Christmas to you, Rod, Moose, and the staff. Same to you, Al. In the time we have left before the break, because when we come back, we'll play NHL top 5, bottom 5. People, I really love it. I like it, too. I just can't believe how much people love it, because it doesn't mean anything. It's like the Chiefs aren't even in the top 5 in a lot of power rankings in the NFL right now because they only got 9 wins with 3 weeks to go. They're not even at double-digit wins yet. You think they're not concerned in KC? Newsflash, they are. But there's only 3 games tonight in the NHL. Islanders at Washington. Kind of deal or no deal. What are we going to call this? Pick 'em? Islanders just won last night at home over the Oilers 3-1. Who's winning tonight, Islanders or Capitals in Washington?
I'll take the Caps just because it's in Washington and New York heading on the road here. Not that it's a far road trip.
You said you'd take the Caps?
Yeah.
Yeah. They are 1 point out of a playoff spot, Washington. I'm going to take the Capitals as well. Islanders hold that final playoff spot. This is a 4-point game tonight in Washington. Detroit at Winnipeg is by far the game of the night. The Wings have lost 3 in a row. Not only is it's the game of the night because it's in Winnipeg, but also the Wings need to win, man. Patrick Kane's done nothing. Jets want to get back on track. Who wins?
I'll take Winnipeg just because of how well they've been playing defensively. I'll take Winnipeg.
Yeah, me too. And then Seattle at the LA Kings. That's back half of a home and home. I got to go with LA on that one. Seattle at the LA Kings at Crypto.com Arena. You taking the Kings?
Yeah, me too. That's a nice little tidy parlay. I'll go to Bet Regal and I'm going to put down on the Kings, the Caps, and who was the other one?
The Kings, the Caps, and the Jets.
And the Jets, yeah, all 3. I don't know why I missed the Jets. Brain fart.
This is oh, hey. Ethan Bear signed by the Washington Capitals, so says Ryan Schultz, who, by the way, just before we break, some comments from the Peanut Gallery. The Barflies writes in from Winnipeg and says, how does Tree Living get another job after that Huberdeau contract? Rhetorical question. He doesn't care anymore. Not his problem. From Ryan Schultz in Manitoba, he says, if you came in the other... Oh, I'm not reading that. Oh, you almost got me. You almost got me.
Anything that's on the prompter.
Jason and Red Deer. Yeah. Have a great night, San Diego. All jokes aside, Rod, this is from Jason in Red Deer. I am happy for you. I dream of possibly moving to Vegas or somewhere warmer as well. Maybe one day. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. You're a good person for saying that. I really appreciate it. When we come back, the always fun NHL top 5, bottom 5 for Bet Regal. We got Jock Wilson on the way. We're going to talk about this Flames thing. And viewer takeover is on the way, too. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Yo, do we have any Christmas music in the old library? Maybe we're saving that for next week. I don't know. But welcome on up inside. I don't know what made me think about it. Well, I do know what made me think of it. Yeah, I got the Christmas toque on, the Florida Panthers Santa Claus hat, the Bet Regal robe, and away we go. Let's bring in the Moose. Here's why, Moose. Later on today, we're taping a double shot of the Cats and Bolts podcast. Serena, Dawn, and I. Serena, not Dawn Cherry. Serena, Dawn's her middle name. Serena and I, with Bill Lindsay coming down to join us live at the Podcast Junkie studio. And I had this laying on the bed, ready to go. And I'm like, I'm going to throw that on for the RP show. Why not? Very serious show that we got going on here. So Are you ready for the NHL top five, bottom five, Darren?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. I want to see you in some sort of Christmas garb tomorrow, okay?
All right.
I mean, you got the tree. I don't have that going, but I guess I could move that in here too. The NHL top five, bottom five, we do it weekly for our official betting partners, Bet Regal. And here we go. The number one team in the National Hockey League is the Vegas Golden Knights. Somebody said it, I don't know who, but to be the best, you have to beat the best. I think it was Ric Flair. And the Golden Knights are number one until they're proven otherwise. Number two, it's the New York Rangers. Had their way with the Leafs. They've won 3 in a row. They played less games than anybody else and have the highest winning percentage. The Rangers are number two. Number three, the Vancouver Canucks. I think we can officially say they're for real. The number 4 team is the Boston Bruins. They're still hanging around, still motivated from last year. And the 5th best team is the LA Kings, top 5. Right now, number 5 is the Kings. Consider me converted. Best NHL road team ever. Bottom 5. Let's go in reverse chronological order. Number 28 is the Columbus Blue Jackets. If you don't play hard against them, you'll lose. But they're still bad. 29th team in the NHL is the Anaheim Ducks. There's no reason for them to be this bad. They need to grow up and mature fast, says the guy in the Santa toque. Number 30 is the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't want to put them here, but I have to. 21 points has them tied for dead last. The 3rd worst team, Chicago, at number 30. Number 31, the San Jose Sharks. Technically last. They've lost 3 in a row, but there's some potential there. At least they haven't given up. At number 32, it's the Ottawa Senators, the dead last worst team in the National Hockey League, going nowhere fast. Even a coaching change couldn't help them. The losers of 5 in a row. Who didn't see that coming? That's our top 5, bottom 5 for our official betting partner, Bet Regal. Sign up for free and get playing at betregal.ca. Well, I can't imagine you would argue with any of those, Moose, but you probably will. What do you think?
No, I mean, I'm just pulling this up again, taking a look. To be honest, until last night, I probably would have, put Toronto in the top 5 based on having a league best 10-1-4 record since I think it was November the 10th. And maybe they're just on the outside, a blip against the Rangers there last night. They're trending up, which is good, even though they lost. The Flyers trending up. But no, I like your top 5. And I just got to talk about the Ottawa Senators for a second, because we both picked them, I think, yesterday against Arizona. And man, you thought, hey, coaching change, Jacques Martin, here we go. This is the late 90s, early 2000s. Ottawa Senators going to, jump up off the mat. And they go out to a 3-0 lead after the first period. And everything's tickety-boo. And then 4 straight goals. You lose 4-3, and nothing's really changed in Ottawa. I hope they can turn it around. But that was just a great summary of their season. Lots of skill, play really hard, and lose.
Well, we haven't talked much about ownership on this show for a long time, and part of the reason is because I don't think people are as interested in it as me and you. I think I'm more interested in it than you are, and you're very interested in it, but I don't think the fans are, and I don't think the fans realize how important ownership is. I got a lot out of that conversation yesterday with Matthew Barnaby. He's like, Andlauer came in, the new owner of the Senators, and did everything right. He didn't come in and start firing everybody. He waited. He oversaw. He goes, I just want to be a fan. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. On one hand, when I see an owner say that, I roll my eyes and think, oh, my God, a fan. Great, another fan. He's got the billions to buy the team and just wants to hang around because he thinks it's cool. I'm not sure that's the case, but he kind of did it right. But I wonder at what point did Michael Andlauer wake up and go, what did I get myself into? They now have an interim GM, an interim coach. Had to fire Pierre Dorian because of the NHL investigation into, under-the-table trade dealings or however that was. Didn't divulge the contract of Dadonov to the NHL. They're a mess. And even at the end of all of that, I don't think Andlauer would go back on the deal. To be honest, who else would be that dumb to pay almost $1 billion for a Canadian NHL team? Who else would take them? So I guess it's your team, sir. What are you going to do with it? Do you think he regrets it?
No, I don't. I don't think you know, at the end of the day, you're owning a professional sports team, right? I don't think you regret that. But I think you sit there and think, man, there's a lot of work to do. And it's not just buy the team and snap your fingers and things are great. You got a lot of work to do in Ottawa. So we'll see what happens and what direction they go on the rest of the year. But yeah, something's got to change.
Al Broderick writes in on the YouTube and says, I love the music on this show. Thank you, Al. Darren, who can take credit for that? Because I had nothing to do with me. Very little of this show has anything to do with me, including the music.
Probably IKS. I think I was a part of that back in the beginning. Well,
nice work.
Not shy to take credit.
He said,
no,
bingo.
I'm kidding. Yeah. But probably a little bit of Jordan, a little bit of Clark, digging in some music and stuff. So, yeah.
By the way, because it's Rick Regan's birthday today, our big voice guy, Clark, can you just run through your raft of sound effects from him, please? This guy, it's his birthday today.
Awesome. Beautiful. LFG. Let's go. Hot damn.
Oh, we might have to pull the clip of that and send it to Rick Regan, who's from Boca Raton, Florida.
Bob's your uncle.
Right here. And lives in Wichita, Kansas now. Which whenever I think of Wichita, Kansas, listen, we've talked enough sports today. I want to get silly for a while. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, we were, that's my favorite holiday show, but as was pointed out to me, that was a U.S. Thanksgiving show. If that's true, that's what Serena said, and Allie from Texarkana said the same thing. It's when they get storm stayed in Wichita, Kansas, and they get in that guy's taxi, which these days it would look like an Uber, right? And he's circling the town. And John Candy was like, he's proud of his town. The man's proud of his town. Wichita, Kansas. That's what I think of when that. That is my favorite holiday movie. And I saw the guys from Edmonton Sports Talk today had a draft of who are you taking number one overall if you're having a draft of all-time Christmas movie characters. And immediately it was very easy for me, Clark Griswold, and I think a lot of people would say Clark Griswold. Yeah, that's the one. But Uncle Lewis, he's my second-round pick. What's the matter with you? Remember us talking about that?
The blessing.
Ask the blessing. No, Margaret, did the room clear out? Jesus. Ask the blessing. Uncle Lewis.
Pretty good.
That's my second-round pick. Who's your third-round pick?
Oh, you always want to go off the board and find something unique. But you know what? Just a feel-good one. I like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus trio. The there. So, yeah. Tim Allen for me. He's fine.
Write in, folks, please, in the comments, YouTube feed, or the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. I know I just sprung this on you last minute for everybody, so I know you want to put some thought into this. Billy Bob Thornton, for me, would be a late ad as Bad Santa. He would be a late-round pick. I got to say, I'm not necessarily the biggest Christmas movie guy. Like, I watch them, but sports movies is more my thing, obviously, because I'm a sports guy. Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone in New York. He's got to be he's a high pick. A high pick. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I recently bought that movie, and you're right, it's a Thanksgiving movie. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which I think we talked about at U.S. Thanksgiving. There's no swearing in the whole movie, but for 37 swears in that little clip where Steve Martin was left at the airport car rental counter. And by the way, who hasn't been there? Ryan Schultz in Manitoba says, Die Hard is a Christmas movie? See, that's the thing. There's movies you watch at Christmas that we would lump in as Christmas movies, but they aren't actually Christmas movies. You're thinking of Uncle Buck. God, there's got to be John Candy in some Christmas movie besides Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Randy from Winnipeg writes that he says, Rod, will you have a chance to go to the Dallas versus Miami game on Sunday? I always have the chance. But no, I actually don't have the chance because we're leaving. Right after this show on Friday, we're jumping in the car, and to be honest, it's a trip. We had a wonderful trip last year. You know it, Darren. We drove up through Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, through Georgia, through the Carolinas, south of North Carolina, ending in Richmond, Virginia, where we spent a week and then drove all the way home. Stopped New Year's Eve in Savannah, Georgia at a barbecue place, had supper, spent the night New Year's Eve in Jacksonville, Florida. This year, we're leaving on Friday. We're driving up to Gainesville, Florida, home of the swamp, and keep on trucking through New Orleans. We're going to New Orleans. That's the eventual destination. It's like 4 or 5 days we're going to spend there and then make our way back. And I don't want to throw it out. There's a big-name football guy who we had set this up earlier. We were going to stop at his house on the way home, but I hadn't talked to him about it. And actually, since U.S. Thanksgiving, so almost a month, we haven't talked about it. So I'm hoping on the way home I'm going to stop at his house. We're going to visit friends on the way. Don't tell anybody, but Serena really, 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 really hates to fly. Like, more than anybody. My mom and my brother hated it, but nothing like her. She's the worst at that. She didn't want to fly. The cool thing is there's so many places around here to fly to. Or, sorry, drive to. You don't need to fly anywhere. But I tell you, we drove through all those cool places last year. Now we're going to New Orleans. You know, there's a lot of places to go. So, Jeff the Stamps fan says, I consider Goodfellas a Christmas movie because it's always on TV over the holidays. That's fine. I'm not going to say what is or what isn't. What are your favorite, characters? So I guess we're saying Bruce Willis. I was never really the biggest diehard movie fan. Anyways, I guess that's it for the end of your time, Moose. Any last words before we move to Calgary with Jock Wilson?
No, now you got me thinking about all these Christmas characters and some of the old Christmas movies I got to remember to get ready to lined up for the holidays.
I want to see your ugly Christmas sweater tomorrow, and it better not be a Leafs jersey.
All right.
Have a great
I'll
24, Moose. See ya.
Later.
We're heading to Calgary next. Jock Wilson from QR Calgary will join us to talk about those Flames and our poll question and whatever else comes up. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Happy holidays, talking sports from paradise. The Florida Panthers have not seen the ice since Monday night, and an excellent goaltending and an opportunistic penalty kill were the formula for success for the Calgary Flames Monday. Michael Backlund's third period shorthanded goal was the winner. Jacob Markstrom made 33 saves, and the Flames edged the Panthers 3-1 in the Saddledome. Jock Wilson talks about the Flames and all sports on QR Calgary. Joins us today. Jocko, happy holidays, man. I appreciate you. How are things in Cowtown these days?
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you as well, Rod. Hey, life is good. We've had very little snow on the ground. It's been an outstanding winter so far. So no, not quite Florida weather, but pretty damn nice.
Good for you. Well, you're always a positive guy. So I'm wondering if you're scratching your head a little like me, because I expected more out of the Flames. I kind of felt like you expected more out of the Flames to this point, and now the narrative seems to be that they should be selling off ahead of the deadline. And I wonder what your thoughts are, where this team is and where you think they might be going as they sit 3 points out of a playoff spot today.
The Calgary Flames are a team in the mushy middle, and that's the best way to look at it. You know, I think they're a good team. I obviously don't think they're an elite team. They're a team that could sneak into the playoffs, Rod. Hey, they might even pull off an upset in the playoffs if they got in, one round, maybe 2 rounds. But let's be honest, this team is not good enough to win a Stanley Cup. And isn't that the ultimate goal? That you want to win a Stanley Cup. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting 2024 for the new general manager, Craig Conroy, because, what is he going to do with Jacob Markstrom? Jacob Markstrom may be the best trade bait that this organization has. You got Chris Tanev, you got Elias Lindholm, you've got Noah Hannafin, all of these potential unrestricted free agents. Now, Jacob Markstrom is not an unrestricted free agent. Obviously, he's locked into a number of years, a pretty good salary, and he's got a no-move clause. But the one thing that this organization has is depth in goal, because, you've got the goalie in waiting in Dustin Wolf. You've got Dan Vladar, who I think can be a capable backup, maybe not a number one guy, but a very capable backup. I think the question the organization has to ask is Dustin Wolf ready to be a number one guy? And right now, I don't think the organization is ready to go down that path.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a long way to go to have the resume or be proven like Jacob Markstrom is. And I guess, I just see a certain faction of the media pushing the rebuild, and gosh knows the fans think the same. I wonder how much they're influenced by those media that are saying that. As long as Jonathan Huberdeau is pointless in 9, and the guys that just aren't playing 10 out of 10, I kind of sit here and wonder why is everybody pushing the rebuild? Unless you are, because I know for a fact the team doesn't even want to talk about it.
Well, if you're the owner, of course you don't want to talk about it. Hey, I was doing the Calgary Flames broadcast when this team did hit the reset button, and this team did live through the Young Guns era. It's not fun. It's not fun for the fans. It's not fun for the organization. And a true rebuild doesn't happen in 2 or 3 years. You know that, Rod. I think fans know that. So is this organization Is this fan base willing to sit through, a 5 or 6 or maybe even a 10-year rebuild? And God forbid, look at the Edmonton Oilers. How many times have they had to press the reset button? Look at other organizations, the Buffalo Sabres, go down the list, the Ottawa Senators. All of these teams are trying to find the magic tonic, but no one can. So it's a fine line. I get it. It's a little easier when you get a number 1 overall pick like a Connor Bedard, like a Connor McDavid, like a Sidney Crosby. Totally different situation. I don't think that generational player is available in the 2024 draft. We'll see in 2025. All of these things that come into play. The one thing I will say about the Flames is that's why fans are excited about the future, because Connor Zary is having an outstanding rookie season. Next to Connor Bedard, he may be the second best rookie in the National Hockey League right now. And that is fantastic. Martin Prospisil has added a little bit of life. You've got Matt Coronado waiting in the wings. You've got Dustin Wolf waiting in the wings. So you've got some pieces that may be able to pick up the slack. Nazem Kadri has certainly picked up his game. The big wild card, as you mentioned, is Jonathan Huberdeau, a guy that's making $10.5 million a year and obviously not living up to expectations. And it's going to set this organization back a little bit, because what do you do with that contract?
I don't think anybody has the answer for that. That's the ultimate elephant in the room. But I'm not quite done with this, because I'm a potential guy, and the Flames aren't anywhere, I don't think, to playing to their potential. They're not matching their talent. I agree with you that they're a good team. I think they're actually an above-average team. But firing Darryl Sutter was supposed to alleviate this. He was the guy that made them angry, not want to go to the rink. Like, their path, we're almost at the new year, Jock. We can't blame this on a new coach anymore, is my point. And I'm like, what's it going to take for these guys to reach their potential, I guess, is my point. And by the way, Edmonton's no better. They're behind Calgary in the standings. There are other teams that aren't hitting their potential either, but specifically Calgary. It's too late to say the coaching change, I think, is the reason for this malaise, because I think they're in one.
Yeah, I think it's a very fair question, because, anytime a new coach comes in, it takes a little bit of time. And did this team have to adjust a little bit, to Ryan Huska and his system? Yeah, that's, that losing streak early in the season, certainly there was some adjustment time. I think what is really intriguing to me with the coaching staff is I think Flames fans and the organization and Ryan Huska expected a lot more from the power play, and that's Mark Savard's area of expertise. And the power play, as you know, has been just bloody awful, and there's no other way to put it. When your penalty killing is outscoring your power play in the last 6 weeks, I think it's 6-4 in the last 6 weeks. It's a major red flag. So what is going on, in that department? You've got enough skill to put out there, and 5-on-5, this team has played pretty well. Obviously, killing penalties, this team has been one of the top teams in the National Hockey League. They've certainly turned it around by being able to score the first goal of the game in their last 4 or 5 games. So that is no longer an issue. And when you're always chasing the game and playing from behind, it's a challenge. So to me, I think if there really is going to be an uptick in the new year, this is on Mark Savard and the Flames power play, because the power play just is awful.
Hey, I know this is a touchy subject. I don't think it's touchy with you. You mentioned Backlund's, you mentioned special teams. So he scored his 17th career shorthanded goal the other day. Looked up who's the number one. Theo. He's got 28. I can't imagine it'll ever be caught. Do you envision a time, Jock, you would know, I think you've been around longer than anybody, really, that a day that we'll see number 14.
I'm old. You're telling me I'm old. I appreciate that. Yeah.
It's the nice way of saying it. Do you think we'll ever see number 14 in the rafters at the Saddle Dome?
Oh man, Rod, I would say, for me personally, yes. From an organizational standpoint, probably no. And I don't get it, because they did the Forever Aflame program, which I thought was just awful and not a good idea. I was going to use a different word, but this is family radio, so I didn't want to use that word. So did Theo have enough points to get his number retired by the organization? Should number 14 be hanging in the rafters? I think you could make a case for it. Everybody knows, what happened to Theo away from the rink, and no one can really unless you've lived in those shoes and walked in those shoes, I will never say anything negative about Theo because he's always been a good friend to me. And here's the deal. I could make a case for him to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, not only at the rafters at the Saddle Dome, but for whatever reason, he has been blackballed by the league and he's been blackballed by the organization. Although I will say this, he's doing more and more with the Calgary Flames alumni. The alumni are very, very active in this city. Led by, guys like Colin Paterson and Jamie McCowan and Corey Sarich, and you can go down the list. That they're great. And Theo, I see him out more and more and doing more community events. So maybe that will get him back in with the organization. Hey, they're going to be, obviously doing a big celebration for Mika Kiprasov in the new year. That's fantastic. I would love to see it. I would love to see it, but is it going to happen anytime soon? I'm old, so maybe not in my lifetime.
Yeah, well, you see, I'm a Cowboys fan, and Jimmy Johnson had to wait 30 years almost to get onto the Ring of Honor in Dallas. Like, it happens, and I like what you say. There's probably a better case for Theo in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Gold, Olympic gold, Stanley Cup, World Juniors, 1,000 games, 1,000 points, than the Flames. But you're right. It's a good answer, Jock. You should be on the radio. You should be in broadcasting, Jock. Very eloquent answer there. But the thing, I do all these events like you, around Calgary, and I have Flames people go, psst, nobody's worn 14. It's going to be retired, so just chill, or whatever. So I tell Theo that, and he's like, what are they waiting for? Did you want to tell Theo that? So it's just another elephant in the room.
Let me ask you this question, because, if you follow Theo on social media, he is quite opinionated. And he has a different opinion than maybe the general population out there. Do you think that hurts him from a National Hockey League perspective, from a brand perspective, or what are your opinions on that?
To be honest, I saw Gino Reda, and I love Gino, great guy. I know him. He said a couple years ago, probably pre-COVID, he said there's a stigma against Theo, and I hit the roof. And I thought it all had to do with addiction and addiction recovery and all the rest. This was pre-Trudeau stuff. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then COVID happened, and Theo just, it's like a rabid dog on Trudeau and vaccinations and stuff. So that didn't help, but I feel like there was a stigma against him before his public, comments on politics and that kind of thing. So I think all of it rolled into one's bad, but to be honest, one of the Sutters, I won't say which one, said the Hall of Fame's full of guys I wouldn't let walk my granddaughter across the street. So I don't understand what you know how they talk. So I don't understand why what you say on Twitter would affect what your career was. But whatever.
I agree.
Hey, Jock, appreciate you. By the way, your name did come up. I think I told you in the Amerin Bank Arena press box with Randy Moeller. He does remember introducing you to your wife. So
good.
Thank you. You're welcome. And thanks for the chat. I always enjoy it, man. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you. Always a pleasure to be on the Rod Pedersen Show. And thanks for coming on mine the odd time as well.
Thanks, bud. Sports Talk with Jock Wilson from QR Calgary. We'll be right back with a sports update and a viewer takeover right after this. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a quickie. Overtime's brought to you by our good friends, as you know, at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Love the communication, the pipeline we have with Randy and Michelle there at Overtime Hockey Lanes. Family business, by the way. It was their brainchild, batting cages for hockey, where skill and fun collide, 28th Street Northeast in beautiful Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Tell them Rod sent you, please. And again, don't put up with any whining from the kids over the holidays that they're bored. Take them down to Overtime Hockey Lanes and give them a follow on social media too. Instagram preferred. Happy holidays from Overtime Hockey Lanes. Before I get to the sports update, we got some good messages have come in from our the Rod Squad, the gang of viewers. John writes in from London, Ontario, 902-518-3033. He says, hi, Rod. John Ferguson here from London, Ontario, watching on Rogers Game Plus. I wanted to wish you, Darren, and the RP staff a Merry Christmas. You helped get me through the early COVID years with your entertaining shows that I'm still watching and listening.
How about
your
that?
great interviewing skills, impressive guests, and fun personality always entertain. Keep up the good work in 2024. Enjoy the holidays. I was thinking of John Ferguson the other day, and specifically his town of London, Ontario. And I don't know if you were watching off the start of the show today, John. I was saying with Nathan Rourke, everybody's going goo-goo gaga about Nathan Rourke, Canadian quarterback with the Patriots. What about Chase Brown, London, Ontario, with the Cincinnati Bengals? One of many Canadians in the NFL that's doing great things that nobody, much less talks about. They don't even know they're there. You would know because you're a sports guy. And by the way, on the COVID thing, how did we get through 4 months of no sports on a sports talk show? But we did. With your help, Rick in Martinsville, Sask writes in, he says, Merry Christmas, RP and staff. How about them Isles? How about them? You're showing your age, Rick. There's a lot of Saskatchewan and Western Canadian fans of the Islanders because of their 4 Stanley Cups in the early 80s and their players that were from there, many from the fine province of Saskatchewan. Denny Potvin. No, Dennis Potvin's not. Brian Trottier, another French guy. French in name, anyways. Bob Bourne, Clark Gillies. I'll stop because I'll forget somebody. Sports update. The Buffalo Bills have definitely caught the eye of pro-line bettors. James Cook had 221 yards from scrimmage Sunday to power the Bills to a 31-10 home win over the Dallas Cowboys. It was the Bills' second straight win over an NFL contender, as the team had beaten Kansas City the week before that. On November 26th, the Bills lost to the Eagles to drop their record to 6-6. The odds on the Bills winning the Super Bowl then went as high as 41.00. Following those wins over the Chiefs and Cowboys, the Bills' odds to win the Super Bowl have dropped to 13.00. According to the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corp, 48% of bettors took Buffalo to win its game against Dallas. A solid 64% liked the small point spread, but only 34% picked the under at 49.5 total points. The bettors are liking the Bills. That's the moral of the story. Sports updates brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In theaters now, Silent Night from legendary director John Woo and the producer of John Wick. Silent Night redefines the action genre with visceral, thrill-a-minute storytelling. And also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, where they know the best beer is the one that's earned, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Well, thanks for letting us entertain you for another 2 hours today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. And we're off to tape a couple of episodes of the Cats and Bolts podcast, where we talk Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning. Give us a check out there on all podcast platforms. Ron in Calgary writes in, he says, great interview with Jock. Love seeing the optimism for the Flames. Is that what you got out of that? I'm not sure I did. It's going to be a biggie tomorrow, live from the Beach House, our Boca Bowl preview, a lot of football. Enjoy whatever sports you're watching, everybody, and we'll catch you tomorrow, noon Eastern, right here.
Who has more fun than us?
Hi.